it is certainly the changing of seasons. I have been working hard on several fall projects, trying to get things buttoned up before winter. We have had some snowfall, not a lot, but a little bit. So that's kind of pushed my button to try to get everything done a little bit quicker. I'm 8 months pregnant, so I can only go but so quickly, which is okay because this is a season of slowing down anyways. So one of my biggest projects is what I'm doing right here, which is planting my tulip bulbs. I have the intention of growing these tulip bulbs to make into bouquets and sell at the farm stand, hopefully starting in March. I purchased 235 bulbs, which, if you watch any other flower farmers or you watch any type of farm stand content or anything, you know that 235 bulbs is nothing. And I also have to account that I am going to lose some of those, so I will have fewer than that to work with. But I'm giving it a shot. I want to really see if people are interested in purchasing these fresh bouquets from me at the farm stand. Tulips grow extremely well in Vermont. They need about 12 to 16 weeks of cold stratification, which they get. You don't want them over 60 degrees or they'll start coming out of dormancy, but they can freeze. Our climate obviously freezes the ground very well, and they grow back every year as a perennial here. They are not an annual. For a cut flower, they will be an annual because I will cut the bulb off, but for people's landscapes, they are flowers that come back year after year. And so I'm really hoping to be able to provide fresh homegrown tulips in March because that is going to be before the tulips start popping up in people's landscapes. And I think people will be interested in it, at least I am, because the tulips I have in my landscape, I don't want to cut because they're there for aesthetic purposes. And they also really don't start until probably about mid-May around here. Maybe early May, maybe late May, kind of depends on the weather, but somewhere around there. And then they kind of end at the beginning of June. That will be that last kind of flush of tulips, the late season tulips. So I am interested in seeing if people want some for their table when it's still kind of chilly outside in March, probably still has some snow on the ground. And you know what? If not, these are going to be for me and I will enjoy them on my own table because I purchased probably 6 bouquets over a month to 2 month period myself last year. So even just that, it's valuable for me to have them to enjoy. So I'm putting about half of them out in the field right here, and then I'm going to have half of them in the greenhouse, which you will see later. They are all single varieties of tulips. Those are some of the colors that I'm going to be providing throughout the season that I'm hoping will last about 6 to 8 weeks long. Hey everyone, we are in the greenhouse and we're going to get a little bit of planting done this afternoon. As you can see, it's pretty sunny outside. It's about a 40-degree day and it has gotten quite warm in here. It got almost 80. And so I had to run out here. Actually, I sent my husband to run out here and open the doors and some of the skylights up here so that it doesn't get too hot. Because I do have some cold crops in here. And then we're putting in some ranunculus and some tulips. So first, with the ranunculus, this is an experiment. These are the ranunculus that I have started, the corms, downstairs in my basement in the dark let them pop up. These are extremely leggy. I do not know if this is going to work. I have seen people in zone 5 overwinter ranunculus in either a high tunnel or some type of protection, and it has worked for them the next year to get earlier spring blooms. I don't know. They look so terrible. I do not know what to expect. And I'm honestly not hoping for really beautiful blooms. I honestly just want to see if it's going to work. So because they're so leggy, I am going to like plant them way down a little bit more than normal. Right now they should be fine. When it gets very, very cold in like December, late December, early January into February, I will cover them with some frost cloth just to protect them. And then we will see if they keep growing in the spring. These are super cheap. Literally don't even know what colors they are. Just got them online. They were like $10 for like 8 of them, which is really cheap. So again, I just wanted to see if the overwintering part of it works. It's just an experiment. So if you want to know more about planting ranunculus in the fall, don't do anything I'm doing. Go watch somebody else that actually knows what they're doing, and you can learn from that. What I'm going to do for the tulips today is I'm going to be planting them from left to right based on early season, mid-season, and I do not have any late season for in here. I only have the mentons that are late season, and those are out in the field. So I'm going to put everything else in here in time order, in chronological order. So it is important, I have figured out, to make sure that I keep an eye on the temperature. So tulips want it chilly. They actually have to have it chilly. They have to have a cold stratification period of 12 to 16 weeks. My hope is that these will start sprouting in February, so they will be ready to cut on in March. So in order for that to happen, they have to have that full 12 weeks, 3 months of cold. So they have to have all of January, all of December, all of November. So these, the extra ones that I didn't plant in the field, have actually been down in my fridge cooling, just to make sure that they get the entirety of that cold temperature before I want them to bloom. So I watched a video from Johnny's, who is very close to my zone. They are 5, they might be 5B, but they overwintered their tulips, have done some trials, and it has worked very well for them. Has added about 2 to 4 weeks of time earlier with those blooms, which is exactly what I'm looking for. And then also the thing that they said about the temperature was really interesting. Everywhere you read, try to keep it 45 to 55 degrees, no higher than that. They said up to 60 degrees. So I basically, on a sunny day, just need to keep an eye out for what the temperature is in this greenhouse. Make sure it's not going to go above 60 degrees. I'm also going to put some shade cloth over these, actually, just to make sure, because some, stuff happens, like life happens, like today, like all of a sudden it was sunny outside, and in an hour it went up 20 degrees in here. So I want to make sure that they're well protected and they don't start randomly shooting out, because then they're ruined. So anyways, I'm going to get going on this. I have some Pro Mix, just garden mix actually, and I am just going to, I would not call it amending because I'm not putting anything special in here. I am just going to cover some of this with some of that garden mix, because some of this has gotten depleted. The soil has gotten depleted from watering and those kinds of things. So I'm going to add some soil on the top of that. these tulips and probably the ranunculus just to keep them going. But let's get this garden project started. It feels cold out here with no jacket on and the wind. When I've been in that no wind, a little bit warmer greenhouse. So that was a fun project to get done because it's chilly outside and it's not exactly bursting with heat in here, but it was still fun to be a little bit warmer, to be planting things, to get my hands dirty, even though it's almost Thanksgiving. So I'm planting in here about 3 weeks after I planted out in the field. And I have planted my ranunculus. I planted an early white. I planted an early purple, which is what I'm going to have the most of. I planted a mid red, and then I also planted a mid, it was supposed to be pink. They sent me a mix, so they must have ran out of pink. So those are what's going to come in. Crossing my fingers for March. We'll keep an eye on it. Everything's watered in, all ready to sit. I'll get my shade cloth in a little bit to put on top of it. It is crazy for me to think it is 2:02 in the afternoon. The sun is already starting to go down. It has dropped 10 degrees in this greenhouse since I've been out here. It's just that time of year. But we are putting everything to rest. We are putting the beds to rest. We are thinking about spring, planning for spring, and looking forward to it.